Hello everybody, my name is David Benz. I am from the City Station School of Medicine in the Netherlands, and I am here to give you a presentation on delusional disorder. So let's get started together. Well, delusional disorder is diagnosed by the Diagnostics and Statistics Manual for Text Revised Edition based on 5 criteria. We're going to label those A, B, C, D, and E, and we're going to go through them together and wrap our heads around it, okay? So A is the presence of one or more non-bizarre delusions for more than a month. Okay, so it's a time frame. Okay, it has to be more than a month. You can have one delusion or you can have more delusions, but they can't be bizarre. Okay, so let's ask ourselves, well, what is a delusion? Okay, well, let's differentiate delusion from hallucination and delusion. Okay, so well, a hallucination is a perception of auditory, olfactory, gustatory, visual, or tactile. So seeing, touching, tasting, feeling, hearing things that are not there. Okay, where an illusion is a misinterpretation of a sensory stimuli. So for example, I see a shadow in the corner, I think it's a monster, I hide under my covers. Hopefully that's an illusion, it's not the boogeyman. Okay? So a delusion, on the other hand, is an idiosyncratic or false belief which is not changed in spite of proof of its falsity. Okay? So that's what a delusion is. So what is a bizarre delusion? Well, if we know what a bizarre delusion is, then all other delusions are non-bizarre. Okay? So a bizarre delusion is a delusion that's most likely impossible. Okay? For example, there's something called Cotard syndrome or walking corpse syndrome where these patients or these people think that I do not exist. I am dead. My organs have been taken. And some people will actually starve themselves because they don't think they have a stomach. Okay, that is a bizarre delusion, and you would not be able to give the diagnosis of delusional disorder. You'd probably push a diagnosis of a psychotic disorder of some sort. Okay, so that's criterion A. It's the presence of one or more non-bizarre delusions for more than a month. Okay, B. You cannot have met criterion A for schizophrenia at any time. This is a diagnosis of exclusion. We're saying you cannot be schizophrenic. Okay, something interesting that I want you to be aware of is that tactile and olfactory hallucinations are okay in delusional disorder if they're congruent with the delusion. Whereas if you have auditory or visual hallucinations, that's a no-no. If you're seeing people or hearing people talk in your head that are not there, that is going to drive you away from the diagnosis of delusional disorder. Okay. C, other than the direct impact of delusion, psychosocial functioning is not impaired. Okay, so everything else in your life goes fine except for in relation to the delusion. If I think my boss is trying to kill me, I have problems at work, hiding from my boss or whatever, but everything else is fine. I get all of my family at home fine. You know, I pay my bills, everything's fine. Okay. D, if mood episodes occur at the same time, their duration is relatively brief compared to the delusion. Okay, so this is another diagnosis of exclusion. We're saying this is not a mood disorder. The delusions associated with this are not in relation to psychotic breaks during mood disorders. Okay, so finally, E, a delusion is not due to a substance or medical condition. Another diagnosis of exclusion. This is, you are not having delusions, paranoid delusions, because you're too high on cocaine and you're scared the police are coming. Okay, you are not having delusions because you have multi-infarct dementia and are having delusions. Okay, so no. So those are those, A, B, C, D, and E. Gotta meet them to diagnose a delusional disorder. Okay. So finally, let's look at the subtypes of delusional disorder. There are 6 of them. So let's go through these. I got some examples for you. Erotomania is when you think somebody loves you that they don't, and you think, oh, you love me, you love me, you love me. Oh no, they do not. Okay. So for example, John Hinckley thought Jodie Foster loved him and would love him more if he went and shot Ronald Reagan. Okay, that is a erotomania delusional disorder. Okay. Somatoform disorder is the feeling, you're having delusions of feeling the tactile things. Okay, so for example, parasitosis of bugs crawling over your skin. Now remember, it cannot be in relation to a substance abuse disorder. So for example, just because you're too high on amphetamines does not mean you have delusional disorder. Okay, so a grandiose, well, that's when you think you're greater than you are. So for example, Kanye West. Okay, Kanye, you're good, but you're not that good, man. Okay, a jealous disorder, for example, Othello. Okay, he had a little bit of help from Iago, but he was pretty delusionally jealous about Desdemona. Okay, so. And neatly, jealousy has the best prognosis and is more common in men. Okay. Now, paranoid disorder. This example of this would be conspiracy theory with Mel Gibson. I mean, in the end, spoiler alert, in the end, he was not delusional. But if the government wasn't after him, then he would have been delusional, and he's a good example. Okay. It has a better prognosis if it started with a stressor. Okay. And finally, we have mixed disorder, which mixed disorder is just can be one or more of these subtypes together. Okay, so there you go. That is delusional disorder. Those are the subtypes. It cannot be bizarre. We know what a delusion is. So we have to meet A, B, C, D, and E. Remember, A is the presence of one or more non-bizarre delusions for more than a month. Okay, you cannot be schizophrenic. It cannot be because you're having psychotic breaks due to a mood disorder. It cannot be due to a substance. It cannot be due to a medical condition. Okay, and finally, your psychosocial functioning is not impaired in other areas of your life, only in relation to the delusion. Thank you very much for listening to me. This has been a lot of fun, and I hope we learned something. All right, bye.